As we begin our time of meditation, will you pray with me and for me that all that Spirit needs from me for us, from you for us, that we will be open to that in these moments of meditation and message. And then centering in, I invite you to notice your breath. Sense that flow in and out. Sensing all of the places where your body is held, wherever you are sitting. Sensing the air moving around you. Opening to the experience of peace and love found within the silence, found in the delicate strains of music as it washes over you. Peace and love, power and joy, sent out and returning. I invite you to visualize sending your love, your peace, your presence to all of those people and places that you held tenderly as we shared our time affirming our vision. Carry those with you now. Breathing in the oneness that is the truth of who we are. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. I don't know if there's a picture to go along with the, there we go. Oh, nope. Can you change it to say, blessed are you, Lamont? Keeps me, it keeps me anchored as well. So I'm going to begin, actually. It was a little bit inspired by finding when I was doing the talk a couple weeks ago, Peace in the City, Peace in the Nations, coming across, as often is the case, one of the hundreds of books on my bookcase, the Beatitudes of Peace, and really feeling the power of this passage from that book about the Beatitude, blessed are the peacemakers. And our call as peacemakers listening to that message of Jesus the Way Shower, to be workers, standing up, breathing peace, nonviolence towards ourselves, towards all that we encounter, holding that not only role as a peacemaker, but that embodiment. And so I felt that I had not done justice to my own journeying with these Beatitudes. And so over the next few weeks, I am going to invite you to journey with me. You don't need to go out and buy any new books. You could Google the Beatitudes and it'll show up on you can go to a Bible. We've got them in the library. Find those Beatitudes. Hear them now, and then if that calls to you, then journey with me during the week. It is something that I'm going to be bringing to my prayer and meditation time over these weeks. So I'll say more about that. But here, in the words of Matthew, are the Beatitudes as part of the Sermon on the Mount. In Luke, it's the Sermon on the Plain, which is really interesting. But here are the Beatitudes. When Jesus saw the crowd, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him, and he began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who weep and mourn. They will be comforted. Blessed are the meek. They will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice. They will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful. They shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers. They shall be called the sons and daughters of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of justice. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven." There are parts of that might sound really familiar. There are parts of that feel comforting to hear them, and there might be parts of that, blessed are, that rattle your cage a little bit. They do some of mine as well. In the way of things that have been a part of my life for the past few days, I actually left the little book, The Beatitudes of Peace, on my nightstand in the guest room at Matt and Megan's house. But luckily, I bought the companion book, The Gospel of Peace, and John Deere, a peace activist priest, writes about the Beatitudes in that too. So I didn't have to go back to Westfield at 5 o'clock this morning. But it's powerful that he writes in the Gospel of Peace, to understand the Beatitudes, it's helpful to remember that they were originally spoken in the ancient language of Aramaic, not in Greek or Hebrew. Instead of beginning with the familiar phrase, "Blessed are you," they should each begin with the phrase, "Arise and walk forth." Those of you at home might have heard the hmms in the room. Imagine how empowering Jesus' Beatitudes would be if, in fact, they each began, "Arise, get up, get moving, start walking, walk forth and do something, you who are poor, mournful, meek, hungering for justice, merciful, peacemaking, and persecuted." This nonviolent Jesus, he writes, empowers poor, oppressed, rural Galileans to get up and get moving and live out their calling. As sons and daughters of God of peace. To live as if they were already in the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The Aramaic version includes hints of resurrection. Arise, get up. Walking and discipleship. With this commandment to rise and go forth, Jesus begins to send us, his followers, out as sheep in the midst of wolves. As sheep in the midst of wolves, as nonviolent campaigners commissioned to disarm everyone and prepare for God's reign of peace on earth. We are commissioned to disarm everyone, including ourselves. 2 weeks ago, as I said, as I found that the Beatitudes of peace, leading into that beautiful prayer of Lao Tzu, wisdom across traditions and across the ages of, in order for there to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in our heart. And what a tall order that can be. So as I bring these Beatitudes to my prayer and meditation life, truly it is simply an invitation to see what in there is food for you, if anything. What makes your heart break open? What words do you stumble on? And then to know that as we are commissioned, we are part of a lineage. We are part of that lineage that the Beatitudes answer Isaiah, the ancient Hebrew scriptures. We know that through the ages, including visionaries like Gandhi, who for 40 years read the Sermon on the Mount as part of his daily practice, the teaching of what it means to be nonviolent towards ourselves and towards all that we encounter. So we are part of that lineage, and I invite you to see where that lands. Over the next couple of weeks, what lands with me is what I will share. But I would love to be then in conversation with you to see what lands for you. So I'm going to begin with one line that is so alive for me right now. Blessed are those who weep and mourn. They will be comforted. There's a beautiful book that actually Debbie Segrist shared with me originally, Francis Weller's The Wild Edge of Sorrow. And in it, Francis Weller talks about the gates of sorrow. There are 5 of them. That's a whole other book that you don't have to buy. You could probably find information at your library. But one of those gates of sorrow is that grief at our personal losses. Have you had personal losses in your life? Right? People that we love who have died, that aren't physically with us anymore, people who die in the midst of complex, painful situations, people who die peacefully. But that loss is our personal gate of sorrow. It has been a tender, tender blessing to walk with my beloved daughter-in-law and her family over the course of the months leading up to these last few days, but to go and to know that being there to help care for my sweet granddaughter in ways that Megan's mom will not get to do any longer, to feel that tender gift of what a privilege that is in my life to have this relationship unfold. To know that being there made it easy for my son, and his beautiful wife. And then I am so grateful for Unity, because on Friday morning with Keely happily at daycare, playing as 4-year-olds can do so well, I had a chance then to travel to be in the room, that sacred room of holy transition. And as serendipity and God and the universe do, I got there within the last probably 15 minutes that Kathy was alive, slowly, gently, surrounded by her 3 beautiful daughters, her sister, my son. And I could offer her the prayer that I sent her when she was newly diagnosed. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. And about 2 minutes later, Megan's sister looked up and said, "That's it. She's gone." Your gift, Unity, went across time and space to bring comfort to my family, like it brings comfort to so many families in those moments. In any moment, wherever we are, God is. Our personal gates of sorrow soften us, right? If we let them, they break open our hearts so that more love can ooze out. When we build a wall around our sorrow, when we do violence to ourselves and say, "I should be over this by now. I should not any longer be crying. I should. The violence of the I shoulds. You shoulds. When we wall ourselves off even from our private grief, how does God's reign of compassion get in? And when we are softened by our private grief, it then helps us look at the gate of sorrow that are the sorrows of the world, of which right now there are plenty. But in every age, there have been plenty. We who are alive today face the sorrows of the world as they are expressing right now, with the invitation to be commissioned to be awake to arise and walk into the sorrows of the world as the embodiment of love that we are. That is a tall order. Easy to say the words, hard to live the journey. And so as ever, it's an inside job. I have to face my own sorrows, my own inner violence and anger, and then I have to come into community to know I am walking with beloveds, that I draw strength, that we draw strength together. In our larger Western culture, we're barely given permission to feel our own sorrows. You maybe get 3 days, 5 days of bereavement time at work. Good, 5 days, check, I'm all done. It's not how it works, right? In those first 5 days, yes, there's shock, there's families gathering, there's listening to stories maybe you've never heard, there's shared laughter, there's shared regret, there's shared stories, all of that. And then that walk with grief unfolds. So we don't have great way of dealing with that in our culture. We then are invited to show up in different ways. To recognize with clear eyes and clear hearts that suffering is there, but that wherever we are, God is. And if the word God makes you squirm a little, substitute any other word you like. Wherever we are, love is. Wherever we are, Spirit is. Wherever we are, grace is. In that same talk 2 weeks ago, I reminded me, and then us, that healing is not the absence of suffering. It's the integration of it into the wider story of love and growth that we are a part of. We are a part of that wider story of healing and love and growth together. And so hear these words this way. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him, and he began to teach them, saying, "Arise, get up, get moving, start walking, walk forth and do something. You who remember God is your source. God is your source. You who are poor in spirit, live knowing that the kingdom of heaven is here. Arise, get up, get moving, walk forth and do something. You who weep and mourn, live as the compassion and comfort of God. Arise, get up, get moving, start walking. Walk forth and do something. You who are meek and gentle, live knowing that the reign of God is now. Arise, get up, get moving. Start walking, walk forth and do something. You who hunger and thirst for justice and are merciful, work for God's justice and mercy now. Arise, get up, get moving. Start walking, walk forth and do something. You who embody the pure heart of God, live knowing you are the hands and eyes and heart of God. Arise, get up, get moving, start walking. Walk forth and do something, you who are the peacemakers. Your sacred presence stands up, speaks up, works for peace in all ways. You are the beloved sons and daughters of the God of peace. And so it is. Amen.